Oh yeah, absolutely. I think for a couple of reasons. Like number one, having that mentor there, you're not jumping off the cliff by yourself. You got somebody who's done it before. It's kind of like skydiving.
Real Estate Investing Profits presents Profit Masters with your host, world-renowned real estate coach and investor, Corey Boatwright. Now, strap in and get ready to learn elite wealth-building investment strategies taught by 6- and 7-figure house flipping masters as they reveal their best real estate investing profit secrets to you right now.
What is going on, my party people? This is Corey Boatwright. I am your host of Real Estate Investing Profit Masters and the founder and CEO of Real Estate Investing Profits. How are you doing? It has been an incredibly interesting day today. I took in my Porsche Panamera, yes, with my suit and tie, actually not, flip-flops and shirt, and shorts, and I had a PSM error, it's like a sensor error, and anyway, while I was there, I got a lot of things accomplished. Like, they gave me this little kind of desk area where it's just clean. It was just me and my laptop. And man, I feel like I freaking got 2 weeks of work done uninterrupted by waiting for the car to be fixed. So anyway, and it's all good now. But I had an interview set up with Geremy, who you're getting right here in just a second, from Texas All Cash Home Buyers and American Turnkey Properties. And we pushed it a little bit further out. So it was a good thing because I wasn't done with my time at the dealership. So you would have seen, like, if you're watching this, you would have seen like people walking back and forth and salespeople meeting with each other, and probably heard a little noise. So it was actually better that it took a little longer. So anyway, you are getting ready to learn from a really a bright mind, someone I have a lot of respect for. Has been in the corporate world before, also has a certification as a black belt in Lean Six Sigma. Really has an engineer mind and is crushing it right now in the real estate investing business. He has some great tips and strategies he's going to share with you on what's given him the edge. He also has recently, he wrote a book. So he is going to give you the link to that book. And man, I'm excited to let you hear more about Geremy Heath. All right. So before that, let me ask you a question. Have you downloaded the Ultimate Real Estate Investing Quick Start Guide? If you haven't, text the word profit to 38470 and magically it will be downloaded to your phone, wherever you are using this. If you're using a computer, and you can text from there, that's cool, and you'll get it there as well. If you're interested in wholesale coaching, learning how to wholesale, my company does over 100 deals a year. Our team and partners have been amazingly significant in that process, and it's taken years to get everything dialed in really well. But we are learning, and we've done much, much better as we've learned. So I'd love to talk with you to see if we are a good fit. Go to Corey's Coaching, CORYS coaching.com, and watch a 2-minute video and ask a couple questions, and then we can take it from there. All right, here you go. This is Mr. Geremy Heath. Geremy, my man, you there?
Yeah. Corey, how you doing?
What's going on?
Mate, thanks for having me on the show. Appreciate it.
No problem. I'm pumped up to have you on here. And I know that you are going to drop some serious knowledge bombs. And we were just joking about some of the things that are some of the ways actually we knew each other from back in the day. I'll call back in the short sale days. And loss mitigation time. Then you and I actually spoke back in 2009, 10, something like that.
Yep.
Yeah. And also, you have taken a certification in Lean Six Sigma. I think you're considered a black belt in that, one of the certifications on that, which is going to be a testament to some of the things that I think you shared today and how you share them. So I appreciate you taking the time to be on here. Why don't you let our folks listening know a little bit more about who you are and then kind of who is your ideal client?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm actually originally from Australia. You can probably tell from the accent. And but I consider myself a 50-50. Over here, this is my map of Australia where I came from, and this is a Texas, little Texas emblem. So
that's the parts that you can come from, man. I think you're 20 hours, at least probably 20 hours away from Sydney.
Yeah. Yeah. And personally, I feel like I'm right in the middle, but my wife thinks I'm more 60% on the Texas side these days. So,
I won't hold it against you being from Oklahoma, our Red River rivalry that we have. But you have a company called Texas All Cash Home Buyers. And then you also have American Turnkey, what is it? Homes? American Turnkey Homes?
Turnkey Properties.
Turnkey Properties, yeah.
Yeah.
And so you are you do fix and flip, you do some wholesaling, you do, you're also an author, which I want to talk about that later on how that's going for you. But who is your ideal client right now that you're focusing on, and what really got you excited to be involved in real estate investing?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'd say at the moment I'm really moving into the turnkey space, hence the new business, American Turnkey Properties. And what I really love about the turnkey space and why I wanted to get into it is I feel like most people that are out there, everyone wants to invest for the future, and like 95% or even 99% of people, all that they know is mutual funds, stock plans, the benefits that come with a regular job. And since I've been here, I started flipping my first flip was 2009. I came to the US 2006, corporate job. So, but yeah, since I started flipping back in those days, I guess I've learned more and more about real estate, and I guess I understand the power of it as a long-term vehicle for building wealth. And I'm really passionate about trying to help people understand that and help them put plans together so that they can, build wealth through rentals, basically. So I would say like the ideal customer is probably someone in the age of 30 to 50. The earlier the better. Probably the thing that I learned since getting involved in real estate is it's not about how many houses you can flip, but it's really more about how many you can keep. Because I think with flipping, you can make good cash, but the cash can come and go. But if you're building your balance sheet and building assets over time, that's really the game changer for building wealth.
Can you just briefly talk about what turnkey is? I know many people know, but for those that don't, can you explain that?
Yeah, turnkey is basically where a company provides a rental property for an investor to purchase, and then the house has been fully renovated. It has a tenant in place, and then the property management for that property is then part of the ongoing services provided. So for the investor, turnkey real estate really opens up investing to everybody. And it allows, in terms of an ideal client, I think an ideal client is somebody who may have a regular job with a good income. Maybe they're paying a lot of taxes and they're looking for a way to optimize the taxes that they're paying, which real estate provides those type of benefits, as well as, build some long-term wealth. And what a lot of people don't realize is that you can own these properties in your IRA or retirement accounts or with cash. So for anyone that's saving for retirement, you can use your traditional retirement vehicles as a way to hold these properties.
Super powerful. What was one of your biggest influences when you were just getting started in investing?
Well, my original mentor is a guy that we both know, Tim Taylor. And and I would say, Tim didn't just teach me about real estate. He really taught me about so much more. And the biggest thing that he taught me about, which has had an enormous impact, is about having, before you start buying real estate and getting involved in real estate, the thing you have to do first is have the right mindset to be successful and to have a vision and set goals and to then execute on that. And when I first started in Tim's mentorship program, it was in November 2008. And at the time, the first probably 4 lessons that we had with him, he didn't mention real estate once. It was all about mindset. To be honest, they're principles that have helped me not just in building a real estate business, but in all areas of my life. So I'm very grateful to him and what he taught me in the early days.
There's going to be so many. There's going to be a lot of resistance, right? The War of Art, not the Art of War, but the War of Art, right? Talks about that book where the resistance is what you face as an entrepreneur, particularly as a real estate investor, and how you're going to push through that, or how much you're going to allow the resistance to hold you back. And whenever you can see past the resistance, I think that's a whole mindset shift, is that there's something behind the door. There's something behind the wall. It's not what it seems it is. And there's a way to overcome just about any challenge that you can think of whenever you have a different perspective. And I think that the best way to have that perspective is also being involved with mentorship and coaching, as you can attest to. Obviously, I would garner to say that you probably have some of your success was contributed to having a mentor and really helping you think differently.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think for a couple of reasons. Like number one, having that mentor there, you're not jumping off the cliff by yourself. You got somebody who's done it before. It's kind of like skydiving. You could go on a plane and skydive by yourself the first time, but most people are going to jump and do a double. The first time they do it. Yeah, and they're gonna feel safe and comfortable knowing they're doing it with someone before. So I think mentoring in any field, it's pretty much like that. And having that person who's been there before and that's guiding you, it really gives you the confidence to take the action and move forward with whatever you're trying to do.
So true. It makes all the difference in the world whenever you are going to take these steps forward, and you realize that you're going to have some steps that are going to take you back and you're going to fall down. But having somebody you can talk to, it's been there, done that. You can bounce ideas off of, and you don't have to recreate the wheel. Oh my gosh, it saves you time, money, energy, which is just invaluable. It's just in so many different ways. Did you have a breaking point that was like enough is enough time in your life where it's like, I have to make these changes, and I know that real estate's a vehicle that's going to get me there?
I think that, when I think back, I think that I've definitely had some ups and downs in my journey as an entrepreneur, which I think any entrepreneur, that's what it's all about. But I think that some of the tools that Tim taught me at the beginning have really helped me throughout that. And so, the basic principle that I think is important for everyone to understand is you've got to have a real clear vision of the outcome that you're trying to achieve. And you need to go along with that. You have to minimum 10 years and even further out. And you need crystal clear clarity around that. And with that, it needs to connect with a big why or a big purpose. And that's really what gives you your fuel every single day. So if you can define that vision and those goals and put that into your consciousness regularly, like on a daily basis, I think it helps you to take action to get things started. But when resistance comes and you have these tough times, you stay the course. And I think that's where a lot of people fall down, because I think it's easy to have a good, positive, great vision and all these goals when everything's going good. But when things fall apart, is your consciousness still seeing that future, or are you starting to see a future that's less? And they're the times where you have to be able to maintain that vision and keep moving forward.
Man, mentor helps you with that so much. What is one of your Profit Master investing strategies we call here on the show? And it's one of the things that really kind of it's kind of one of your secret sauces, or things that really have been important to you to gaining some of the edge of where you are right now. You were mentioning you had a few things in the book that were 5 points that I thought was pretty interesting when you were sharing a little bit of those. But do you have a specific strategy that has really been something that's helped you make bigger profits?
Yeah, I think that this is going to sound like way too simple, but I think a realization.
Sometimes good.
a realization that I've come to is, first of all, like I said a little earlier, it's not about how many houses you flip, but it's about how many you hold.
Right.
And so in order to be able to do that, the critical component to it all is mastering the bank financing side. And I think so many people that get involved in investing, they may wholesale or they may flip with hard money lenders or private lenders or whatever, but there's only a small percentage that really work out that bank financing piece. And once you work out that part, that's the key to building long-term wealth, because then you can hold the assets with this low interest finance that's going out, into the future. And so it's basic, but I think, that to me is the key to building wealth in real estate.
So would that be not just bank financing, but like creative financing? Is that really what you're, or specifically working with banks, like with a balance sheet, your P&L, with your financial statement? What's anything specific?
Yeah, so I think if somebody's got, poor credit and, they're having trouble working with the bank, definitely there's some seller financing options. But I think if you are in that situation, I would encourage you to understand what the gaps are. So like if the thing that's stopping you is you don't have enough income that you're reporting, then put a plan to addressing that. Or if the problem is your credit score is not high enough, put a plan to addressing that. Because the reality is that for almost anybody, within 12 months, they could turn around their situation to get to a point where they can get financed by a bank. And I think for so many people, they don't see that as being possible, and years pass by and they never get that. And once they've mastered it, you've got the connection with the bank, you know how to do it, and everything opens up.
That's great. That's great. Do you have a really specific challenge that you can think of that you faced? Doesn't have to be recent, but something that we can learn from, and how did you get through it?
I mean, probably one of the most challenging times I had was several years back when, I had my foot down to the floor and going hard, and we picked up a few. I had 3 properties in particular that were the higher ARV ones, and I know for a lot of people that have done flipping out there, that's where everyone gets hurt. Those higher ARVs, we go in thinking, man, we're going to make $100,000, $150,000 on that, and it ends up sometimes being the total reverse of that. So, so I think, when I think back to the time, there was 3 properties all at once. And probably what I should have done in hindsight was just try one of them and not take on 3 big ones. But they all ended up not working out. They all ended up going on more than a year. Big rehabs, big holding costs, sold them for less than what we thought. And it all kind of hit me right at this one time. And it did result in a pretty decent loss. But I guess at the time, back to the points I was saying before about having the vision and being able to maintain that, to be honest, it was really my routine that I developed that made me stay the course. And, I was probably knocked about for a month or 2, but I got back on the horse pretty quick and kept moving forward.
It's interesting because whenever you expect something to make a lot more money and it makes less, right? Those are the times where that mindset in you really kicks in to be the most valuable, because you can leverage either way. You can say, because that didn't happen, then all these other things are probably not going to happen as well, right? Or you can have the mindset, I'm going, what did I learn from this particular example? I'm not blanking it for all my experiences from now until the end of time for me investing. What did I learn from this specific example that I can take away that's good, even though it was painted gray and black? Gray. What can I do to learn from this example, and then figure out how to tweak something where you don't make the same mistake or choices that you made that had that particular outcome. Example, taking on more than one big property, the ARB itself, the value of the asset itself, maybe the construction team that you use, maybe the contracts that were used, but learning from those things and moving forward, and then getting excited about the next project versus the mindset of, oh my gosh, I lost here, I'm going to lose on everything else, I'm just going to get out of this business.
Yeah, I think that's very, very true. And it's definitely true. Like with any adversity, there's a seed of an equivalent, benefit. And I truly, what I've learned through my, the ups and downs as an entrepreneur is whenever I've experienced something that's been tough, it's the universe telling me, putting the pressure on to say, you've got to change something. You've got to do something different. So it's sending me, there's a message that's coming to me from God, from the universe. And you got to listen to it and make an adjustment because it's happening for a reason,
Everything. I believe that, man. I think that everything happens for a reason. There's always more going on in the moment than we realize.
Mm-hmm.
That's really good. Did you have a specific lesson that you've learned that has helped you get to where you are today?
In terms of a specific, in relation to real estate investing or just life in general?
Just like a really great lesson that, that maybe someone taught you, a mentor taught you this, or maybe it's something that you practice a lot, but just a lesson that you really lean on that has kind of guided you, maybe almost more like your North Star in terms of the strategy.
Yeah, I would say when I'm operating at my best, that's when I'm doing my morning routine. It is something that I did learn from Tim, and then I kind of built on it more. There's a book called The Miracle Morning, which a lot of people are probably familiar with, and the interesting thing for me was when I'd gone through The Miracle Morning, the blueprint that's in that book was really similar to what Tim had actually taught me, and probably through that book, I then started to be more religious and more intentional about practicing it. And without a doubt, I'm not going to sit here and say I'm always perfect at doing it, but I know for sure when I'm doing it, things go a lot smoother and everything lines up. And when I'm not, that's when things are tougher. And I think a lot of the reason for that is because when things aren't lining up, you get off rhythm. And so, it's easy to be in rhythm when everything's great. It's kind of like the ship that's out in sea. If it's smooth sailing, hey, it's easy to go from point A to point B. But when the storm comes, you suddenly forget all the fundamentals of what you were doing when you were sailing in the smooth seas. And so, I think it's really, and this is a challenge that I kind of have all the time, but in the tough times, having the discipline to keep with the routine, because you actually need it more than ever at that time.
There's a saying, and I'll paraphrase it, but it's like, no great sailors were ever made on smooth oceans. Right? Like whenever you're pressed, the diamond comes from the pressure of the coal.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that's when, I call it in working with my students, I say you either flex or fold, Geremy. So you have a choice every day to flex or fold. And man, there's times where the pressure, you want to fold, everything in you emotionally says to fold, but then you have to separate your emotions from what is going on in that moment. You have to create separation, create space between you and the thing, and then decide, am I going to flex and get through this and bear through it? And, I'll say another word, but I won't cuss on here, but another mentor of mine told me, he said, if you're going to eat a crap sandwich, don't nibble. So basically just get through it, and swallow that thing, because everybody eats a crap sandwich, but just going to make your choice whether or not to nibble. So getting through it. And again, the mindset is so important to do that. If you had to start all over again, Geremy, what would you do different? Maybe what's some advice for some folks that are new and starting?
Man, if I was starting all over again, I would hold more from properties.
Hold more properties. Hold more properties. Yeah. I think you start thinking about the long term, right, of what can be created in your assets, your balance sheet, how much more in that is important as you get older in life. And when you're in a younger part of your life, you're just blowing and going, you're just spending money like water, and you don't really start thinking about that. And often you don't really have a family then, but more responsibilities, more stewardship, and you start thinking long term.
Oh, definitely. And I think, we're a similar age, I guess, and you see, and we're not too old, we're still in decent range, we've got a bit of time, but some of the younger guys coming through in their mid-20s, early 30s, the guys that are, that kind of have the tools and the skills and knowledge and starting to build their assets. And it's like, dude, that extra 10 years or so is pretty powerful for them.
Amazingly powerful, especially living in the days we are with big data, AI, and the game's changing in a lot of ways, and really being aware of taking advantage and utilizing some of those things to gain more gain assets and gain leverage for strategies to acquire wealth and have creative financing measures and methods. Do you have a favorite motivational quote or business quote that you really love?
Yeah, I believe it's Henry Ford, and it says, "Whether a man thinks he can or can't, he's right."
Love it, man. I love that one. It's my top one as well. So true, right? Thinking about how much Henry Ford, even though later on in his life, you probably don't, if you read his whole history and story, you may not like the guy, of how gritty he was and the things that how hard he pressed. But he was responsible for revolution. He was responsible for much of what you see in America today, outside of just cars. Creating the assembly line. Creating just so many really incredible systems and processes that you see today. And his quote came from all about attitude. Again, it comes back to mindset, all about attitude. And he would not take no for an answer. That's what he was known for, is taking no for an answer. He would figure out a way to get through it. And I love that. I love that quote, man. What books do you recommend that has really changed your life?
I would say one of the most impactful one for sure is Laws of Success by Napoleon Hill. And so, a lot of people are familiar with the Think and Grow Rich, which is a great book as well. And they've got a lot of similarities, but I really love the Laws of Success, which was the one he had done before. He lays out the 17, sometimes it's 15, sometimes it's 17, but I'm pretty sure the original was I think it was 15, then he added 2 later, maybe. But that book, hands down. And then there's actually an audible book that I've listened to many, many times, which is Napoleon Hill in his 70s presenting to a group in Chicago, and it's called Your Right to Be Rich. And what I love about that audible book is it's Napoleon Hill teaching his lessons live, but he's at the time he's about 70 years old, so he's doing it with the perspective of his life experience. And so I love listening to that audible. I've probably listened to it 20 times because it's kind of like I've got Napoleon Hill, sitting there talking to me, telling me what I got to do.
Great, man. I've seen some great Napoleon Hill on Netflix as well. He has some great shows on there, from autobiographies of his life. And that book is, Think and Grow Rich, like you said, has been known for forever, but many people didn't understand that he had other things that he put out there before that. What is it about Napoleon Hill that really stood out to you?
I think clearly his model is focused around mindset. I think some of the mindset principles that he's big on, if you think of having a definite purpose, right? That's having clarity of your vision. It's mindset. He talks about the mastermind alliance. So that's, again, like having like minds together, which I think is a mindset. He talks about, having active faith. So a lot of these principles that he talks about, especially the ones that he really counts as the fundamentals, are all about the conscious thoughts and intention that you have of what you want to create in your future. And the reality is that you really have the power to do and create anything. It's just like what do you truly believe in your soul that you can achieve, and what lengths are you willing to go to make it happen, right? And I think, for a lot of people, it's maybe not having that clarity of vision, or maybe it's not having that belief in themselves, or maybe it's like starting and then not having the persistence to keep moving forward. But if you have that vision and you keep persistent, life's a long time. You'll get there in the end, and I think that's a very powerful thing to kind of always remember.
Have you read As a Man Thinketh?
Oh yeah, I love that. I love that as well. Yep, and that's awesome because you can knock it out in 30 minutes if you speed it up. And yeah, I love that.
I do too. You can just get on YouTube and type it in and actually get some really cool videos and reading the book, and it's just awesome. That's one of my favorite books, As a Man Thinketh. Do you have a favorite mobile app that you use every day?
Man, this is probably going to sound boring, but because we rehab a lot of houses, I use Builder-Trend software, and so
that's not boring. That's cool.
That's been helpful to me, man, to help see what's going on with construction, and just a nice tool to use when you've got a lot of rehabs going on.
Sure. We'll put these in the show notes, so people, if you're listening right now, if you have any resource that Geremy recommends, we'll make sure that you can get access to it. There's some really great resources out there, more and more that are coming available, especially in the real estate world. There's a company called. Have you used others besides Builder-Trend? Did you use Appfolio too? What else do you use? Yeah,
Builder-Trend and Appfolio are the two main things, and then we use Podio for our CRM.
Okay.
Yeah, but I kind of I know some people like to use Podio and get everything integrated across all the functions, but I've enjoyed trying to pick what I think is the best for each of the functions and just use it in isolation.
Gotcha.
And I have felt, from the group that we're both in, Collective Genius, when I first joined Collective Genius about 3 years ago, I was interested to see, like, hey, what are all these heavy hitters doing? And probably the biggest thing that I realized quickly was that the guys that were running big operations, they were, number one, spending a lot on their marketing. But number two, they were using the best technology that was available to support their business. And then I think really building your processes around that technology, which is something, since I've been in CG, I'll try to find, like, hey, what's the best software? And then I'll build my processes around that, knowing that the software will kind of anchor me to a good system as a starting point.
There's another one called Stessa. Have you seen Stessa or used Stessa?
No, I haven't. Is that a construction management software?
It is. It's actually a rental property software. So it's not designed around construction management, but it's really interesting when you're talking. I remember this. They have a free for individual investors, and then they have a professional, which is $1,000 a month. So it goes literally from free to $1,000 a month. But it gives you, their kind of model around it is like, we want to wow you so much with this free option that if you have a lot of houses that you just absolutely can't live without the professional. And it separates out the portals for LP, and it tracks LP contributions and distributions, and has tools in there and automated receipt scanning tools and income and expense tracking. And so it does run monthly reports, and I believe you can use a Zapier that goes with a QuickBooks on it, and they do have a mobile app. But I think that Builder-Trend is what I hear more and more investors with a big portfolio of use. But Stessa is coming in strong, and they have a big technology background behind them. So it's something definitely to check out.
Yeah, that's cool.
Stessa, Stessa.
Maybe the price point of $1,000 a month, it must be something special.
It is. I'm telling you, it's a pretty interesting model. Do you get 8 hours of sleep a day, man?
Dude, no. I'd probably be 5 to 6. 5 to 6, I'd say.
5 to 6. Okay.
Yeah.
And you talked about a morning routine, how it's important. What is your morning routine? Is it just the Miracle Morning, pretty much that same model?
Yeah, it's pretty much that model. Like I'll start with some meditation, like 10 minutes of meditation, some affirmations that I would go through. Reviewing my goals, and as part of that, I like to kind of think about things I'm grateful for, and I like to think about things I'm grateful for in the current moment, but also to think about my future vision and feel the gratitude for that vision already before it's been realized. And then recently I got a Peloton, and I've been kind of hitting that in the morning to get my exercise. So that's been pretty cool. But yeah, normally, without the exercise, it's probably a 30-minute routine, and then the exercise adds another 30 or 45, about an hour 15.
The exercise, I think, is something that's easy to put off. But I've noticed that if you put it off, like you don't get that rut. So in the morning, what's cool about exercising in the morning particularly is that you can speed up your metabolism sort of for the day, but you're burning more calories and you're setting up your day where you release endorphins right off the bat. Your blood is get your blood moving and circulating, and your body is actually meant to move. Your body is not meant to set still for too long, even though we do that a lot for sitting in chairs and working. But your body's actually designed to move. And whenever you treat it in a way that likes, which is in the morning drinking, a liter of water or drinking a lot of water in the morning, and then doing 10 to 15 minutes of exercise, man, it releases those endorphins. There's been scientific studies that show that you have a clearer mind often in the morning whenever you're exercising, because you're able to process things a lot faster. It's not like a bunch of junk that's all gumped up, like having like an engine but haven't had an oil change, right? Yeah. Imagine that's what you are if you don't exercise for too long. Then you have to change that oil, more frequently, about every week, to really get the benefits of what you have capability to do. And so I think exercising is pretty critical with the morning routine.
Oh yeah, definitely. And the morning is always the best time for it. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
Because I know for me anyway, if I say I'm going to do it in the evening or afternoon, it's it's probably a 50-50 at that point,
And sometimes you have to I know folks that kind of work it. I guess it is specific to your own situation, but a lot of times your wife or your girlfriend or whoever wants to have dinner and, you want to go to the gym. Sometimes that can be a bad one. What are you most grateful for, man?
Man, I'd say hands down, I'm grateful for the gift of life and my beautiful wife who I share it with, for sure.
I love that. That's great, man.
I say with my wife's name is Melanie. And, before I came to the US, I was working in a corporate job, and I traveled all around the world, and I'd actually done personal traveling as well, some backpacking and stuff. So I always joke with her and say, I had to travel all around the world to find it, but it was worth it. So,
so I'm sure you went to New Zealand, being in Australia.
Yeah, beautiful place for sure.
That's awesome. How long have you been married?
We got married 2008, so this will be coming up on our 11th year.
That's awesome, man. Congratulations. That is awesome. You talked about a mentor in the beginning. How important has that been to your success, and would you recommend it for others?
Yeah, I mean, hands down, having a mentor is the fastest way to grow. And, you just got to look at any professional athlete that performs at the highest level. They have coaches in all areas. When you're at that elite level, they have a different coach for different areas. And so that's, it's critical to success.
I agree. If you had to summarize it, Geremy, why do you do what you do? What gets you up in the morning, man?
So I would say at the end of the day, it is all about the future that I see and that I want to create. And that's one of being able to be financially free, but not just for me and my wife, but for the people that are close to me, my parents as they're getting older, and other people, close friends, or specifically family, but just being able to create an environment where I have the ability to help the people that I love. And because, one thing that my mum had taught me when I was younger, she said, money's not everything, but if you have it, it definitely helps solve a lot of problems. And I think that is 1,000,000% true.
Money gives you options.
Mm-hmm.
Money gives you options, and you can either make it bad options or good options. And I can tell, man, that as you've gotten more success, that you're making it with good options. How can we serve you? You have a book. Can you mention your book? Is there a place we can go get your book?
Yeah, absolutely. So the book was launched July 4th. Like I mentioned, it's called 10,000 Miles to the American Dream. It's available for sale at the moment on Amazon. So I think for anyone that's looking for, an inspirational story, I think having 8 guys come from the other side of the world, and all of us have been here. I've probably been here one of the longest out of the guys, and some of the other guys have only been here 5 or 6 years, and they've made big headway over here in the real estate space. And I think what it does show for the people that are here is, like, if 8 guys from Australia can come here with nothing. I mean, I came here with a suitcase, and the other guys have similar stories, and if we can make it happen, anyone can. So I think, yeah, it's a cool story. And then I think also, if you're new to real estate, it does explore the different asset classes, and it gives a real nice introduction to the different type of investments that are out there. And so people from that, I think, can really decide what maybe fits their specific personality style or their investing goals, and take the next step with that.
Awesome, man. That's cool. Well, I'm going to get a link for the book. We'd love to be able to get that book. I know it's going to be awesome. Is it Audible, or is it just in Amazon on a reader?
It's Kindle and paperback.
Okay.
And for more info, actually, on the group, because the group's we're called the Real Estate Mates, and so yeah, so you can visit our website, which is realestatemates.com, and it's got info on the group and the book.
Real Estate Mates, cool. Okay, definitely put that here as well. And that's the best way to contact you?
Yeah, you can contact me there, or the other way is through my website, which is americanturnKeyproperties.com.
American Turnkey Properties. American Turnkey Properties.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things I probably enjoy doing more than anything is sitting. For people that are serious about building a rental portfolio and building long-term wealth, I love to sit with somebody and help them clarify their vision and their goals. And then once we've got clarity on that, work through building a real estate-based investment plan that's going to get to that goal. And I've done it now with lots of people. And what I've realized is that everyone has different visions and goals, but real estate is so flexible that you can create a plan that molds to whatever the person's need is. And so it's a real cool experience to be able to sit down and work through that with people. So if anyone's interested in that, that's what I love doing more than anything. So I reach out.
I bet you're awesome at it too, dude. I can just tell that you genuinely love to help people and give back. And your inspirational story from the Real Estate Mates, I'm sure just translates in so many ways to be able to have empathy for folks that want to achieve that same level. So, and you didn't just fall off the turnip truck yesterday. You're managing over 100 properties now. You're doing hundreds of transactions, and really doing cool things with your Roth IRA that you and I were talking about before we got on here. So someone to definitely learn a lot from, also with your Sigma certification, and learning on processes and automations. And I made a comment to you as well that whenever you shared some information in the Collective Mastermind, I loved how clean and easy to understand your teaching was and what you've created. So bravo to you, man.
Oh, dude, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. And likewise, you're definitely a great guy, man. And I appreciate you having me on the show. And you're definitely, one of the things that impresses me about you is how you connect with so many people and have deep relationships with a huge network of people. I'm in awe of that. I'm like, how does Corey keep up with that? But I think you got a special gift at connecting with people and making them feel like you're listening to them and paying attention to them. So I really appreciate you.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, man. I'm really grateful for the relationships like you and the Mastermind, the Collective Genius, and just whenever you serve others and help get anything that maybe you have been able to achieve that you can give somebody else, or a resource or a connection or whatever, and it can help them, then by you thinking about them first, often things will come back for you. And to me, one of the biggest fulfillment factors of life, it has to do with serving. And whenever you are serving others, and including serving yourself, but whenever you are more focused on serving others and helping others, then I believe it creates a new energy that is more of this kind of synergetic and positive, optimistic energy versus this kind of selfish, sucking, draining energy of like, what can I get from you? And man, it's just opened up some of the biggest doors in my life, and I'm so grateful because of it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Hey, the collective genius is a great example of that, right?
Absolutely, man. The mastermind concept in play. Mm-hmm. Well, I appreciate you being on here, Geremy. Thank you very much. We'll put all the links. I'll put a link to your book. I'll have links here to the resources we discussed. And man, thank you so much for being on here.
Yeah, thanks, Corey. I enjoyed it. Thanks, mate.
Awesome, mate. All right. Talk to you later. Remember, be a servant. We're going to bring other amazing guests on you can learn a ton from in the real estate space. Bye now.
Hi, this is Corey Boatwright, and I have a quick question for you. What is the fastest way to reach your goals? Is it to work harder, work smarter, use system and processes, or hire rock star employees? What about just making more money? Actually, it's none of that. Those things are a byproduct of the one success component that every real estate investor or business owner that I know all have in common. And the answer is clarity. Complete laser focus on what you want, why you want it, and what are you willing to do to get it. So where do you find clarity? By hiring a coach and mentor. Now, could you reach the level of success that you want to achieve by doing this all on your own? The Lone Ranger. Well, maybe, but do you think it would take you double or even triple the time to achieve it compared to hiring a coach and mentor to help guide your path, provide proven instruction with a tailored blueprint that you could follow for building a real estate business that supports your lifestyle and helps you reach your financial and personal goals? Absolutely. Here's the fact. Time isn't recyclable. So I would like to ask you to make good use of it and extend a personal invitation for you to book a phone coaching strategy session by going to callwithcorey.com. That's callwithcorey, Corey spelled CORY.com. I'm going to ask you a few quick questions on that page, and we're going to go over and see how we can make sure that your business is on path to reach the goals that you want this year. So go to callwithcorey.com, that's CORY, and book your phone coaching strategy session today. Remember, be a servant, and I'll see you on there.
You've been listening to another Real Estate Investing Profits Master Podcast Series. To receive your free real estate book, Down and Dirty, Ultimate Real Estate Investing Quick Start Guide, how to quit your job to start flipping houses in 90 days or less, head online and go to realestateinvestingprofits.com. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/Real Estate Investing Profits. Thanks again for listening, and stay tuned for our next episode.